8:15, Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. Time to talk a little city business, if you will. Metro Councilwoman Laurie White-Adams joins us in studio. Welcome back. How are you?
I'm great, Brian. Doing good. Thanks for having me.
No, glad to have you back on again, and glad to be talking about this. Or should we be talking about this? I mean, I don't want to disclose too much.
I have not signed an NDA. I can say everything.
Okay, fantastic.
I know.
The backstory here. Federal regulators have asked East Baton Rouge leaders to sign a non-disclosure agreement blocking them from discussing certain aspects of a proposed drainage plan that would create a new fee for property owners. The EPA is the one who's asking members of the Metro Council and the mayor's office to sign the NDA, though it wasn't clear what kind of information was being kept secret. Unknown who has signed the agreement so far, but a city parish spokesperson said members of the mayor's office have signed. All right, before we get into the smell test of this, which it reeks, but can we talk about, do you know what they don't want us talking, what they don't want y'all talking about?
What I believe they don't want people talking about is the negotiations that are going on between the EPA, the DOJ, and the administration because Baton Rouge has been out of compliance since 2008 with the Clean Water Act, which means our MS4 permitting is in jeopardy. And so there's an enforcement action that's coming, and they don't want those details of that consent decree discussed.
All right. MS4 permitting.
Sorry.
What is that? No.
Yeah.
What is that? What does that do?
So MS4 permitting ensures that the water that we are discharging into rivers and lakes around us is clean, doesn't have illicit discharge in it. So that's it. I know MS4 permitting, that's what's water quality.
That means what's in the water. That doesn't sound like debris would be a problem. Litter would be a problem. This is a stormwater drainage fee.
Yeah, it is. But so this is stormwater because that's what runs off. That's
right.
What runs off is stormwater.
Okay,
so you need a sanitary sewer and you also need a stormwater sewer program. Right? I know it's so complex.
This is opening up more questions.
It's so complex.
No, I get it, and it's going to be complex enough to where we all just glaze over and say, "Take my money," and I'll shut up and go away.
No, I want people to engage.
I hope so as well. All right, so the negotiations are going to be going on, hopefully, but
they're going on now. They're going on now.
Hopefully, they get us somewhere to where our budget's supposed to go from $9 million to $40 million per year just for this?
With the, yes, if the stormwater fee were to pass and you said have a stormwater utility fee, then yes, you would have a much larger budget to handle, stormwater sewer upgrades and deal with the problems that we're having. And hopefully, I think what the plan is that they hope that the federal government would look at this and say, okay, y'all are doing this.
Good faith.
You have a dedicated revenue stream, and so we're not gonna enact a consent decree on you.
So
that's what I think.
Okay. Now this has been out of compliance since you said 2008.
Yes.
All right. So we've gone 14 years without even looking at this.
So that's a long time.
It's a very long time.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That is. Yeah. I don't know how. And everyone, like myself included, we're all going to look at the current administration and say, what are you doing sticking me with this bill? It is important to keep in mind that this is 2008 was a while ago. But that being said, I want to walk down this path for just a minute. You can tell me just to shut up and go away at any time.
No, let's do it.
What happens if we tell the federal government to stick it?
Well, okay, that's really the problem for council members right now with that NDA and with our administration members not really being able to talk. Is there's a choice for us that is this stormwater fee, which most of us just learned about. I think all of us just learned about maybe 4 weeks ago that this proposal was going to be coming, and then there's this other thing behind the curtain, and we can't see behind the curtain.
Okay, did we get wrapped into this, or was this something that was pushed down?
Pushed down is my understanding.
So oftentimes there are programs, things available from the federal government that you agree to, and it commits you to something else on the back end.
Yeah.
Looking at how long ago this was, I don't know that, would there be something in our history that we agreed to do that put us on the hook for this?
Brian, I don't think so, but I'll be honest with you. This has been my late night reading for the past 4 weeks. I'm still learning. I'm still reading through documents. I'm still trying to understand. Also, I know sometimes with these things, it's because an outside entity is suing the municipality and then the consent decree comes. I don't think that's the case. I think this is just literally the EPA and the DOJ are like, hey, it's been 14 years, guys.
Yeah. Yeah. Which I get that. I get that. But at the same time, though, I
Right.
don't know what.
No,
There's a
agreed.
whole jurisdiction thing, and me having there's a jurisdiction thing, and a government needs to start locally that just is going to fly in the face of everything that seems reasonable here. Okay.
Brian, super confusing because we just finished the stormwater master planning process, which is
And
all
these two things
capital
are getting right.
projects. That's capital projects, but also it's also ordinances or UDC changes the way we build or develop. It changes to that have
Yeah.
been proposed to this, and now you have this over here, which is annual maintenance in nature. It's very confusing to everybody.
Yeah. So the stormwater drainage fee, it sounds like a lot of this is going to be used to make water flow more smoothly. I don't know where it gets cleaner.
So
And what you're telling me is the penalties come from it not being clean enough.
that's right. So, okay, so we have water quality and water quantity issues, and we have to deal with both.
Yes.
In my evening civil engineering degree that I am not earning, but
Right.
I'm studying for nightly.
Exactly.
I'm learning that water quantity can affect water quality. But we do have to deal with litter. We have to deal with what's on our streets. We have to clean our streets.
Absolutely. We all everybody's there because of 2016 and May of 2021. We're all there on that end.
We have to deal with a broken stormwater sewer system.
Here's where I'm going with it. Yeah, and we're all on the same page with that.
Yeah.
But to go from $9 million to $40 million when water doesn't just fall from the sky and get unclean because it fell from the sky.
That's right.
And dirt doesn't do it either.
That's right.
Okay, so it sounds to me like there could be people who can be penalized rather than a blanket tax of all of us. Like, why isn't the water that falls from the sky as clean when it gets to where it's going? I don't know where that ends.
Those are good questions, and those are questions that I hope that people will ask when they come to the public meetings. So if you'll go to the to brla.gov and look, there are a whole selection of public meetings over the next 2 weeks. It's an opportunity for people to ask those very questions to the administration and get it straight from the people who are proposing the fee. Yes.
Let's go back to the NDA for just a minute. And I plan on asking every Metro Council person I can get a hold of, some that don't return my calls, but I plan on getting everyone that I get a hold of to come on here and talk directly about this. First of all, your reaction when you saw it was what? The request?
Oh wow. Oh wow! I mean, it's for a Republican council member. This is an absolute nightmare.
Right.
People. Do I think we are taxed enough? 100%. Do I believe that our funds, and that's everything, from, and look, I'm going to just make everybody hate me right now, from BRAC to library to council on aging. Are they malapportioned? They are. These dedicated revenues are killing us at the local level and at the state level. We do not have the ability to reapportion the way funds are distributed, and that causes for a lot of problems, which
Yes.
some of which I'm sure you've read about in the paper. We've got to stop doing dedicated revenues. I understand that it's a trust issue, but on the backside, it causes really, really, really bad issues. And I'll tell you what, if you're running an organization or an entity and you have a dedicated revenue stream, where's the inclination, or where's your motivation to manage those funds as tightly and efficiently as possible? You don't have to. It's right.
Exactly. And we've run into very recently, and this is not a shot at the library, but when you've got all new facilities and a budget that like Scrooge McDuck could swim in the gold.
Sure.
When you're looking at that, people start to ask questions and say, why can't we take money from here and move it over here? Well, it's dedicated. Okay, what does it take to undedicate it?
Right.
And that is just one example of probably dozens, if not hundreds, throughout the budget where dedicated funds leave us just in
a ridiculous place. And remember, I don't know if you've had Councilman Hudson here yet, but remember this time last year, Councilman Hudson had a proposal to go before the people to try and adjust those millages to provide drainage maintenance funds, and we couldn't even get the vote to the people out of the council.
Well, and it's a whole other problem. Yes, we had him on about that then.
Okay.
I can't wait to have him on about the NDA. I purposely waited. Like, I didn't call him first. I called you. So I didn't call him first because I had a feeling that of everybody on the Metro Council,
Yes.
He was just going to be fire.
Yeah.
Like, absolutely, like literal flames. Like what's that movie, The Inside Out? With the girls' emotions? He was the anger emotion right there.
entirely possible.
Yes,
I will listen when you have him on.
Maybe I shouldn't have waited to give him a cool off period. Maybe we should have done that. So anyway, Laurie White Adams is in with us. Have you talked to any other council members?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, we're all asking each other questions because everybody's doing their own research and trying to get up to speed and understand this as much as possible, as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
So yeah, there are lots and lots and lots of questions.
14 years worth of overdue fees, 14 years worth of late fee, or whatever the delinquency. That is a very serious problem that needs to be tackled. But at the same time, though, taking
Right.
taking a $9 million budget and turning into a $40 million budget overnight does not fly. And this is where I turn into typical conservative talk show host.
Sure.
When my budget in my home gets run amok, I have to cut.
Right.
When the government's budget runs amok, they just ask for more.
Right.
So I
understand that.
How do we walk in between those?
And I think we all know, as evidenced by what Councilman Hudson did this time last year, and I was right there with him. I was his second. Let's do this. We know that we have not been putting enough money into drainage maintenance by the fact that we have a backlog. I had a lady last night at an HOA meeting say, I put in a request to get this sinkhole, this sewer, stormwater sewer problem fixed 7 years ago, and they just came out this week.
Oh, wow.
7 years. So the backlog is tremendous. We know we need more money. I don't know, and I haven't had time to do the research. Where's the money gone over the years? Because I do think we used to have more money in drainage maintenance, and it's been whittled away. So I need to understand that. There's no question we need more money to do the maintenance work. The question is where we're going to find it, how we're going to get it.
As far as the drainage fee is concerned, this will be up for introduction at the Metro Council tonight. With a vote on, I believe, the 26th.
That's correct.
Have you got any word yet as to where y'all are at with it? Because it feels like there's so much to be sifted through, so much that y'all have to find right now. We're going to have to move forward before knowing everything, which
those council members would have a really difficult time saying where they were on it before the public meetings. The public meetings are critical. People need to engage. So the public meeting for my district is tomorrow night at the Goodwood Library at 6 p.m. in that big conference room off to the side. So I want to encourage everybody, even if you don't live in District 11, come to the Goodwood Library at 6 o'clock tomorrow. There'll be a presentation. Ask all your questions. I am certainly anxious to hear from both residents of District 11 and the public throughout the parish, their questions and their thoughts on this.
So you got tomorrow night at the main branch, the Goodwood Library, Monday night up at the Pride Cheneyville Branch Library, then Tuesday, October 18th, Charles R. Kelly Community Center on Riley Street, Thursday, October 20th, Bluebonnet Regional Branch Library, Monday, October 24th, Fairwood Branch Library, and then on Tuesday, October 25th, the Jones Creek Library. That's where all the public meetings will be leading up to before the 26th, where there will be a vote. Hey, we got about 3 minutes left. Can we shift gears? I've got to ask you.
Sure, yeah.
So there's an investigative committee. We're talking about cats now, made up of East Baton Rouge Parish Metro Council members that has a vote scheduled for today on measures that would formally call for members of the Cats Board to not only attend y'all's committee's meetings going forward, but to give your committee access to certain books and papers. Where are we at with cats from this committee's perspective?
So from this committee's perspective, really, again, here we go. We have cats. It's a political subdivision created by the state. Mm-hmm. So the only control, the only oversight we have is over board members and their behavior, the ones that their behavior in their duties.
Yes.
Then the ones that we appoint. So we've done an investigative committee. We're taking a look at the actions of the board members to see if they've met the duties that they were supposed to meet in their oversight of cats. So this is all part of the investigative process. I just want people to know that your Metro Council members, they're listening, we're engaged, and we're all over the place in a really great way, trying to provide people with the oversight and build confidence in the way their funds are being spent.
Okay,
I know. We're trying.
Is there going to be a point where we scrap it and start over?
The whole thing?
Yeah. No, cats, not Baton Rouge, cats.
It's a great question.
Yeah.
So that's, again, it's a political subdivision of the state. It's created by the state. So to do something like that, we would be engaging with our state legislators. I'll be honest with you. I have hope. I do have hope that we can work with the CATS organization and get things headed in the right direction. That's certainly my intent, and I'm glad to invest the time and energy into this committee.
Yes.
Because this is what the people expect us to do.
100%. Well, you got a busy meeting coming up tonight, so I appreciate a couple of minutes this morning. She is Councilwoman Laurie White Adams. Thank you so much for coming on board.
Thank you, Brian.
Absolutely. And these conversations are not done talking about the stormwater drainage fee. Like I said, I'm reaching out to everybody who will take my phone call. Quick break. When we come back, open enrollment. Let's talk a little bit about your health insurance. That's coming up next, right after a check of news, traffic, and weather, right here on Talk 107.3 FM. Mornings with Brian Haldane continues next.
Thank you.
No, thank